Hey there, your chief visionary, Natasha Davis here from Impact Branding, and I'm coming to you with a new 5 Simple Steps series. This particular Simple Steps, I'm going to talk to you about supply chain management. Super fun, but also can be very complex and a little intimidating. So I'm going to uncomplicate it for you. I'm going to help you understand it with simplicity and show you how you can apply it also with simplicity. So the thing that I want you to keep in mind is supply chain management is an absolute necessity, regardless of the industry that you're in, small, medium, large size company, product-based, service-based, it doesn't really matter. And so in this particular series, I am going to give you insight into supply chain management, break it down, uncomplicate it, and then make sure that you're using supply chain management to its absolute complete benefit, because there's a lot of benefits to SCM. Okay, so every business is going to need it. So what I'm going to enlighten you on in this particular series, I'm going to enlighten you on what supply chain management is in the most simplest form. I'm also going to help you to understand how to develop a simple yet effective end-to-end supply chain management process. Yay. I'm going to talk to you a little about the primary operational flows of supply chain management, explain to you the difference between vertical and horizontal integration, and even why is it relevant to you, right? Whether you're a small company or you're a mid-sized company, why is that even relevant? I'll show you that. And then also I'm going to show you how to use supply chain management to ramp up and improve customer service and satisfaction. So I'm going to give you step 1 and step 2 today, right? I want you to get started real quick. So step 1 is understanding what it is. What is supply chain management? It is the process of getting the finished products and services to your customer. Simply stated, right? And when you think about that, supply chain management is required for all companies who seek to be profitable and who seek to experience consistent growth. Supply chain management was traditionally and customarily thought of only for product-based companies, manufacturing companies, things like that. But that is not true. Supply chain management is also extremely relevant for service-based businesses, and I'm going to show you how. So, when supply chain management is poorly respected and poorly utilized, the company suffers financially. Right to the root of it, financially. And the customers, they suffer because they are deprived of the ability to receive value-added benefits and also to receive the solutions that they're not only desperately looking for, but that they're paying for. So that's step 1 is that's understanding what supply chain management is. What is it? It is basically getting finished products and services from you to your customer, right? For consumption and usage, right? All right. So now step 2. Step 2 is I'm going to show you or just kind of glean over how to develop simple yet effective end-to-end supply chain management. Yes, end to end. Beautiful, right? And I'm going to give it to you in 1, 2, 3 points. Here we go. So supply chain management requires you to look at 3 main things: plan, implementation, and evaluation. So I want you to think PIE, PIE. So think PIE when you think about how am I going to develop an end-to-end supply chain management process? Like, where do I start? So you start with understanding what it is, and now I'm going to show you how to develop a process. The planning process helps the company to understand the demand and supply needs and priorities for their customer and their business. Very important. Again, this applies to both product and service-based businesses. It is much easier to understand supply chain management when you have products, but it's not that easy to understand when you have a service-based business. So I'm going to kind of emphasize a little bit on service-based right now so you can understand, because it's much easier to understand it in product-based. And I know at Impact Branding, we specialize in working with a lot of service-based companies. And so, that's our sweet spot, even though we do work with product-based. But I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm going to tell you right now, SCM is needed in service-based. Don't let anyone tell you any differently because it's not true. So let's say, for example, you're a medical practice, right? Now, medical practice is what? A service-based business. We know that. Say it's located in a rapidly growing area. You're constantly seeing rapid growth. People are moving in. It's really getting busy. Well, the medical practice will need to be in position to sufficiently supply the demand of the medical services that's getting ready to happen. So, what are the things that they will need? They're going to need more staffing. They're going to probably need more space, and they're going to need to evaluate the process of how they're delivering the medical service. Why? There's a huge difference between managing 20 patients a day or 20 clients a day versus 40 patients a day or 40 clients a day. Huge difference. So when we think about the planning of supply chain management, these things, you have to consider these things, right? The next thing is implementation. Now, the next piece of the puzzle has a couple components to it, but it's so easy. So let me show you. So when you think about implementation, it encompasses finding or sourcing the raw product or service, making it available for use to your customer, right? Because you have to make it available for consumption or for usage by way of your business. Delivering it to the customer. How's the customer going to access it? How they're going to pay for it? How they're going to use it? And then also managing returns and refunds. Really important. Even though we strive for 100% satisfaction, let's face it, let's be honest, it doesn't happen. And so we have to be aware of how we're going to manage refunds and returns across the entire spectrum of the supply chain. Oftentimes, this part right here, refunds and returns, it's touched on a little bit, but it's ill prepared for and sometimes forgotten, because again, no one wants to look at, I got to return money or return a product, right? But you have to think about this because we have to manage returns and we have to manage refunds as well. All right, the final process in this developing an end-to-end supply chain management is evaluation. Remember, we had planning, implementation, and now we had evaluation. This process supports the performance improvement and risk management every single business needs. Whether you're a large business, a medium business, or a small business, you have to understand the performance measures around it, and you have to manage risks. This is where KPIs, which is key performance indicators, come into play. Compliance comes into play. Audits come into play, and evaluation of the plan, the strategic plan, and looking at the business model. Now, real quick, if you're a little fuzzy on KPIs, I invite you to check out one of the other 5 simple steps where I actually teach about this, or you can visit ibcacademyonline.com for one of my DIY courses, right? You can hashtag learning is earning, right? All right, so we covered planning, implementation, and evaluation. I want you to think PI because you're developing your end-to-end supply chain management process. All right, there you have it. Insights in supply chain management. I've given you step 1 and step 2. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to the Impact Branding Videos channel, click the little button, hit subscribe, so you'll know when we got some new information. Hashtag golden nuggets have hit the airwaves, right? So go ahead and subscribe. Tell somebody else to come check it out. Always giving away great information. And next week, you can come back and check out the next step in this series, so that you can keep learning and growing and implementing supply chain management. Love it. I'm your Chief Visionary, Natasha Davis with Impact Branding. And remember, at Impact Branding, we make sure that no good brand is left behind.